again, the miners will include the transaction, and then Alice will wait some confirmations, and she will broadcast the proof. Note that to unlock like the coins originally, that were originally locked. Note that this has the issue, quote unquote, that both chains need to be individually secured. So like if for whatever reason the other proof of work sidechain is a sidechain with low hash rate, which we can reliably censor, and you have a problem. So the security assumption like rapidly like changes a lot. So what about proof of stake sidechains? So in the end, like I'll give a reference like to a paper that describes that. A proof of work block says I have a hash. If the hash of that block is like less than the current difficulty, which adjusts every some amount of time, I accept that block. A proof of stake block looks like this. It has like this usual stuff. It has some signatures instead of a hash. And you accept the block if you see that the stake inside that block was like 2/3 of the total stake that you had last observed. And how does a proof of work to proof of stake sidechains thing work? So note that in this case, in this slide, I don't have like nothing here. I have a multisig, which is in the one way like you don't have a multisig, we have a script. In this case, like instead of having a script, like you have like some multisig which expresses the validators of the proof of stake sidechain. So basically, what happens is that I spend the deposit script on the main chain, where the deposit script is controlled by the proof of stake sidechain validators. And so I will wait out confirmations, I will take the proof of work SPV proof, and I will take it and I will put it on the sidechain, as before. However, when I want to withdraw, note that now we have like the validator set, which is the same like in both chains. So what happens is that indeed I burn my coins, but instead of having to like broadcast an SPV proof, and how are you going to do an SPV proof on a proof of stake sidechain? There is no notion of work. There is no objective metric. Because stake is costless and like cue all the usual proof of stake criticism. And I'm not here to criticize proof of stake, but it's a fine point that like we do not have an objective manner to validate that the transaction was included. So what we do is that instead of having work, we kind of trust the validators to do their action correctly. So indeed the validator multisig will execute the withdrawal. And there is also a concept of elections in proof of stake sidechains, usually such as Tendermint and whatnot, as chains which are built using Tendermint. So you have elections, so every certain amount of blocks, like the validator set changes. So once the election happens, indeed the validator set on the proof of stake sidechain changes. But notice that like now I have put my money in a multisig owned by V, and now the multisig actually should be V prime. Like these guys, what's happening? Like, can they steal my money? So what should happen is that the old stake, the validators of the previous multisig, the owners of the previous multisig, if they act properly, they should take the money from the multisig and spend it to a new multisig. And if they do that, okay, like the two chains have the same validator set, and I'm in a good spot. I know that like if the proof of stake sidechain is secure, also my funds are secure on the proof of work chain are secure like as long as they follow the rules. And also what you can do, which is not seen currently in the proof of stake sidechains, in the proof of stake chains on their own, is that proof of stake chains suffer from the long range attack, where the long range attack shows that basically a validator that is no longer bonded can go back to the past and create an alternative chain, and then you cannot know which chain is which. And Sarazuvi, which is in the audience, proposed like a mechanism like to counter this in the paper. There is like also another approach to countering this by Raphael Pascal with consensus to Hernian, which I believe we will hear about tomorrow. But another approach is that you can use a proof of work chain instead to checkpoint the current state of your sidechain. So this is like a nice benefit. And of course, like indeed, the long range attack still could happen. However, it can only happen if you can break the proof of work of the main chain. So the idea is that you will use a proof of work chain with like high hash rate like Bitcoin or Ethereum in order not to get have that problem. And there is an obvious attack. Like what if they don't want to update the multisig? What are you gonna do? So there's this unbonding period, like while you're in the sidechain, which says that like you cannot unbond your funds instantly. So if I have locked like 32 Ether on Ethereum, and I have like and I want to unbond, like indeed like the validator said does change, but I have to wait like a certain amount of time until I can take my money out. And the idea should be that like the multisig should not be updatable until the validators have been like the validators should not be unbonded before the multisig has been updated. So like a good mechanism which I have not seen yet implemented is that you will take the SPV proof of the spend, and only then will the validators from this like validator set get unbonded. And the idea again is that if the validators have more to lose than the money that's on this multisig, they will act honestly because cost to attack is more than cost to cover it. So we have a very nice taxonomy which was very, very nicely described in the paper that I cite over here, which you should all read, which says we have the federation, which is just a multisig, and multisigs are great and like an amazing primitive, but like for our threat models they're horrible. You have a proof of work sidechain, which basically will use some form of like logarithmically growing SPV proof, plus maybe some reorganization proofs, like if you're in the proof of work scenario. Plus, in the side of the proof of stake sidechain, you will have basically a rotating multisig, which is indeed weighted by stake, and you add like some slashing for like if they try to equivocate, if they try to misbehave. And if you want, like you can also add like the checkpointing mechanism that I described earlier. But then, like the common denominator in all of this is the collateral, where in the federation, the collateral is like the reputation. The collateral here is the hash rate that exists in the proof of work sidechain. The collateral here is whatever like we have staked. So like if that is more than if you have more to lose than what you have put in the sidechain, sure. But you cannot rely on that. Like capital, firstly, is like very, very expensive, and secondly, what if like these are like some references on this, and we were working on TBDC, which also takes ideas from this setup. So this is a paper that describes how to do proof of stake sidechains, but it does not by Mrs. Lindros and others, who is the Nico Powell's author. However, it does not go in depth exactly on how we would like counter like the incentives of such attacks. And the problem basically with all the tactics to do sidechains is that they take care of rational and not Byzantine adversaries, because if I want to steal your money and if I'm a state actor and don't want you like to transact everything through whatever coin, I don't care about the money, I'm gonna put like the Byzantine. And also, collateral does align the incentives, but like why will I put my collateral like to protect your money and follow the consensus rules and not put it into compound finance and earn whatever interest exists for that. So enter layer 2, like the thing that we've been listening to for like years, and layer 2 here, layer 2 there, where is layer 2, where is the scalability? So there's a safety goal that, and when I say layer 2, I always assume that the layer 1 is a proof of work chain that can give us like some reliable guarantees about the censorship resistance and the stickiness of the transaction, like a transaction not getting reordered after it has been included. And the safety goal is that like if you are a non-miner, there should be no way for you to like influence how like an honest user, the ability of an honest user to withdraw your funds. And non-miner might be the wrong word here. Like I didn't find a better word, but like non-miner plus person willing to like bribe the miner. So like if the miner incentives are properly aligned, even in the presence of bribery, you should always be allowed to withdraw your money. And there is an attack on the systems which I will describe before the end of the talk. And the assumption is this. And the main assumption is that we include this dispute transaction before some timeout. And the longer the timeout, of course, the worse the UX, because why would I wait like for a month to get my funds out? But it increases the security, because it says that somebody has to reorder 1 month's worth of transactions. And I haven't seen a 1 month reorder yet in Bitcoin, so that's pretty good. And the primitives that we're using for all of this is basically state machines, Merkle trees, signatures, so very, very simple stuff. And this is the simple stuff that allows you to do mechanisms with fraud proofs, which have the problems of like some synchrony assumptions, and also zero knowledge proofs. But like I'm not a mathematician, and zero knowledge proofs are a bit like novel and complex, and they do not fit like in this time slot for this talk. How can we do this on Bitcoin though? Because the talk is about Bitcoin. So smart contracts on Ethereum, we kind of know how to do most of this. So in order to have state machines, we need a primitive called a covenant. And a covenant basically is a construction which allows you to restrict where your UTXO gets spent. And O'Connor at the Bitcoin workshop very, very nicely said that initially Bitcoin day one had digital signatures, who can spend the Bitcoin. With time locks with these guys when the Bitcoin can be spent, and indeed with like these two like very lean constructions along with SegWit gave us Lightning. However, the covenant is a technique which allows you to specify how and where the Bitcoin gets spent. So if I want to send some money to Stefan and say, okay, this money is now yours, but you can only use it for donations, I cannot do it right now on Bitcoin. I could perhaps do it with pre-signed transactions, which are like a technique that I will describe very soon, but it's, how to say, it limits you in the things that you can do. And the use cases are multiple, so let me dive into that. Like vaults are like the clear use case where like a vault is basically a way to say that if you have like some funds and your private key gets stolen, you should still be able to claim your funds somehow. How do you do that? You have a hot key and a cold key. And basically it says that if your hot key gets stolen, you have, let's say, a week until which you can submit a transaction by a cold key, which will send your funds back to another address that you control. Paralysis proof, colored coins, congestion control, they're like all similar like ideas and techniques. The idea that we want though is like the fraud proofs, which allows us to do like sidechains with trust minimized with reverse pay. And there's like, of course, like more ideas, the mailing list, Bitcoin talk, like some Telegram chat, as usual. The covenant designs that exist, the one which was like specified by the first academic paper, because probably there was like again a mention of covenants years before, but let's stick to the academic work so far. It was object output, which basically says Alice spends to Bob, and Bob can only spend to a regular expression that Alice specified. And this is way, way, way too powerful because like if you have a problem and you add a regular expression on it, then you have two problems. So it's a bit problematic. The other approach, which is my favorite so far, is the opcat plus object seed from stack by O'Connor and Kutskarian, which is actually implemented or added, I believe, in elements. Opcat is an opcode which allows you to concatenate two elements. Check seed from stack is like, so currently Bitcoin transactions, they do not allow you to verify a message that the user passes and some signature. They only allow you to like check that the signature that was submitted is valid. And for example, like if I want to say that some oracle value is that much and this guy signed it, I cannot check it. So it's a nice extra feature. Check output hash verifier was a more limited kind of version from check output, like it was like oriented towards safety. Or literally fine to secure the bag, which Jeremy is working right now on, and you should definitely take a look at. And the final idea was like push TX data, which basically says that you can inspect like the outputs of a transaction along with other information. So basically you build a state machine by specifying that the output of your output must have specific structure. And pre-signed transactions is this technique which we haven't seen that much in Ethereum because we have like stateful smart contracts, but it says that like I will only do something, so I will only spend to you if you pre-sign a transaction which says that you will make a certain spend. So basically, if I were to send Stefan some money, I would only send to him if he already gave me a signature which says that the output that he will receive is only spendable in a certain way. And by using certain time blocks and other like nice techniques, that's how we got Lightning. So a case study on this. So Plasma and Plasma Cash was a technique by Vitalik and Joseph, which was like earlier described in shadow chains plus some like extra ideas, which says that you have a side chain or like whatever, like you have some guy that holds some state of chain. And that guy, instead of like checkpointing the state naively, he merkleizes the state, he puts the state of chain on the proof of work chain. So this is like a similar technique again as the one that we used in the proof of stake side chains. However, the difference is that if you want to like withdraw your assets, you will play like a game. And the game is expressed by a state machine. And so it basically says that there's like a very simple state machine for the Plasma Cash, but there have been like more complex proposals and ideas. And the idea is that like, okay, when you deposit your funds, you're at state QA, and you're transacting your funds off-chain. And during each state transition that you made off-chain, like there is a checkpoint of that state transition along with other people's state transitions in a Merkle root. And when you want to exit, like when you want to withdraw your money, you will make an attestation to the layer 1. And so when you were at the deposited state when you were in the deposited state, then you will be able to transition to the exited state. And for the plasma state machine, there was like an idea that like there's two types of challenges, an interactive and a non-interactive challenge. For the simple cases, the non-interactive challenge instantly allows you like to transition back to the deposited state. And for the interactive challenges, you have a counter, like that counter gets incremented or decrementing depending on the type of challenge. And if that counter is 0 after some time, which is the dispute period, you're able to indeed take your money out. And the same applies for the non-interactive challenge. If nobody challenges your exit within some time, you're able to take your money out. And that technique like is seen like in all layer 2 systems with fraud proofs, which we call like usually optimistic systems. And how we do that on Bitcoin would be, so I give here the example of checkout to verify, which uses the checkout code. And like if you were to write in like some higher like helper language like Ivy or Miniscript, you would do something like that. You'd say, okay, you have the current script, and you would add like some extra helper function which takes the arguments, the next pattern, and it like puts a checkout with the code on top. And if you want like to take extra arguments, you will use the oppic or like other codes to inspect like inputs of the script. And however, like the critique I received for like opting for this transaction was that, of course, like this adds loops because we just saw a state machine that goes back. Like this is like this cycle is Turing completeness, and Bitcoin does not want Turing completeness, as far as I know. So the technique by Jeremy Rubin for the secure the bug says that, okay, you can kind of do loops, but you can only do like a finite amount of loops. So as long as you can kind of bound it, it's not really a loop, it's just like a very long statement. So this is like currently work in progress, so I'm not sure if it's like the best technique, but it's like the best that I know of like at present moment. And for the medical proof verification that is required for Plasma, you will add like a very simple code which does this. The alternative would be to add like some like if you have like a concatenation of code back, you would be able to say message 1, message 2, concatenate hash, and proceed to the next level for everyone that's familiar with how medical proof works. But okay, like I'm just like describing an idea for this. Check sig from stack, which I think like everybody like in the Bitcoin community that's like open to new ideas like kind of likes it as an idea. It would basically take like all the inputs of the transaction, it would like concatenate them, it would hash them, so yeah, I need a hash over here. And it will check the signature from the operator, and if the operator's signature is there, like it will turn 1, and that will get accepted by the state transition. Okay, so this all we've kind of known of all of this all of this has been written and seen on the internet for like a year plus by now. So there was a recent technique which was maybe not so recent, but let's say recent, which is called optimistic rollup, which is being worked on by some very talented people right now, which says that what if we want to do more complex state transitions? Because currently the plasma technique allows you to do only very stupid transactions like A sends to B, and maybe you can add some time block, maybe some multisig, but the thing is that you're very limited. And also, Plasma is trying to work around the infamous data availability problem, which says that what if this operator which puts this arrow, they commit a hash, but they never reveal the full metal tree. And if you're not aware of the metal tree or the metal proofs that are relevant to your state, how are you going to make the exit statement later? So Plasma tries to work around that by trying to design a very specific, very limited exit game, which is safe even under data availability. But these restrictions, they get you Plasma Cash, which does not have fungible coins, and a bunch of other stuff which have taken a lot of effort. So what if we say that, okay, Plasma is a premature optimization, let's try to not solve the data availability problem, but try to kind of work around it in a way. And what we're doing is that instead of committing only the 32 bytes of the transaction, we'll also take all the tree, the whole tree that was like off-chain, and we will encode it. So I'm not going to say if this is a good idea or a bad idea. It depends on like if how good your encoding is, and like if the layer 1 should be used only as a dispute layer. This takes the approach that it also uses the layer 1 as a data availability layer, and it's kind of based on the idea that you separate like consensus from execution completely. And there's a similar paper by Mustafa Al-Bassam, which called Lazy Ledger, which like proposes like very similar ideas. So this is shown to work. So like the Plasma Group team demoed something at DevCon like 2 weeks ago or less, which basically shows an integration between this and Uniswap, and you get like an off-chain Uniswap that still kind of works, which is very nice. The other idea is to use a zero knowledge proof. So this is the only side that I show zero knowledge proof. There's no math here to be shown. Which says that, okay, you're still committing 32 bytes and an encoding of the transaction because data availability problem, and you also add a zero knowledge proof. And what happens with the zero knowledge proof is that the operator, whenever they submit the new 32 bytes, they must submit like some zero knowledge proof which can be verified like within reasonable gas limits. And that is like to replace basically the exit game with the zero knowledge proof attesting that the state transition was valid. And this is excellent. However, tough math, like a lot of prover time and like verifier time on chain, which may get better, which looks like it's getting better. So maybe ZK rollup might eat optimistic rollup, but we don't know. But what if we do optimistic ZK rollup? So the idea here would be that if the verifier is too expensive to compute each time, like here, because you put the zero knowledge proof, and you also have to run the verifier. And the verifier, what if the verifier, such as in the case of a start